Hey, good morning. This is Father George Corrigan with a few thoughts on the Sunday Gospel for the first Sunday in Lent. Very quickly, Mark tells us a story in the Gospel that Jesus is baptized in the waters. The dove descends upon him. He hears his Father's voice, says, you are my beloved Son in whom I am well pleased. And then, boom, the Spirit drives him into the desert. Not leads him, suggests, drives him into the desert. And there he remained for 40 days among the wild animals, ministered to by angels, and that is it. Mark tells the whole story. And I think it's one that offers us still, in its brevity, still offers us some wonderful lessons. Jesus didn't choose the wilderness. He was driven there. In the course of my life, I've chosen the wilderness a bunch of times, but it was for fun. It was adventures. In the desert, the Yellowstone in the winter, the Wind River Range, the Masai Mara and other places. Those wilderness, they were fun. It was great. I wasn't driven there. But in this 3-sentence narrative, Mark kind of gives us the opportunity to sort of ponder and consider, what are the lessons to be learned. Well, first, Jesus didn't choose the wilderness. It was just simply, he didn't choose it. Nor do we choose the wilderness times in our lifetimes. We don't choose to be sitting in the ER room while one of our beloved is, behind closed doors while doctors, figure out, what's wrong. We don't choose to have to endure prickly relationships. We don't endure sudden death, trust badly broken. All the wilderness shows up at our doorsteps, unwelcomed, unbidden, and we get to face it. And at the same time, we'll ask, well, where is God in all this? Why are we outside our safety zone? This wilderness stuff is dangerous. But the wilderness can also be that time in which, we discover to remember, okay, but yes, I'm in the wilderness, but who am I and to whom do we belong? And in those times, this is Jesus that echo, you are my beloved Son in whom I am well pleased. For us to remember that same thing, that in our baptism we were claimed for Christ and we are loved by God, even while we struggle in the wilderness. Maybe the second lesson is the wilderness can be a long time. Maybe it's 40 minutes, 40 hours, 40 days, 40 years. It can be maddeningly slow while you're waiting for the doors of the ER to open to get some report on your loved one in the ER. It can be just to know your child is safe. It can be just hoping for the first light of dawn to come to sort of end this endless night, even knowing the next day is going to be maybe just a little bit more of the same with a sort of confrontation of mind, spirit, and body. And it takes its toll. It takes its toll. And we want it over because we are Amazon Prime to people, same-day delivery, 2 days at most. And the long wilderness struggle can sort of sap our energy, kind of lead to a little bit of discouragement, a little bit of despair. And so the part of it is, where is God in all of this? And that's the part in which it's the memory of the Father's voice, I'm sure, that sustains Jesus. He experienced all the things that we experience or would experience in that wilderness. We have that same challenge. And our challenge is less immediate than Jesus's. Our challenge is to remember that we have been loved. Before we did the first thing right or wrong, we were loved. And part of life in the wilderness is encountering these beasts that tell us, well, there's other things. It's that love of God is not enough. How about this? How about that? It's the temptation, trying to tell us, this is who you are. This is to whom you belong. And to realize, or maybe even saying you belong to no one. You're this autonomous self-individual. But the great temptation is that only God can really tell us who we are and to who we belong. And I think that's unnerving to know that we can be unsafe and yet deeply loved and cared for at the same time. I remember one of my favorite readings is from the Song of Songs, and it's talking about, the love that, there's a seal set upon our arm. And maybe the equivalent is in your baptism, you're marked with the sign of the cross, claimed for Christ. And it says, the Song of Song goes on to say, what about this nature of this love? It is relentless as the netherworld. Its flames are a burning fire, and not even the deep waters can quench the fires of love, nor floods sleep it away. That's the part that we need to remember. In the wilderness, we need to learn that love that survives is more than sentimental. It is salvific. It's abiding. And I think the third lesson is there's angels in the wilderness. There's angels in our wilderness. We may not recognize them, but they're the ones for whom the hands are on the shoulder, the knock is on the door. It's the people the ears that listen, the people that come help take us a break. The angels whisper, they cook, they walk into our lives. And if we actually pay attention, they're there for the 40 minutes, the 40 days, the 40 years, whatever it takes. The angels are with us. So we don't choose the wilderness. The struggle can be long, but there's always angels that will minister to us in the end. And so this Lent, if you find yourself in that wilderness, remember to walk with courage, to remember the angels are around you, and to always remember that you are beloved of God. And may the Lord give you peace.